Hey Gus, just how crucial is it to get 4 full quarters out of your defense this week? It seems that the last 3 weeks you just had some lulls and some lapses that have just derailed games. But just how important is it to get the full complete performance from your guys?
Yeah, that's what we talked about this week. I mean, we've talked about the last couple of weeks, really, the importance of every play, every series is so important for us. And you're right, that second quarter last week wasn't exactly what we hoped for. But I thought we came back, after halftime, kind of regrouped, talked about some of the things we needed to take care of. And it was really just bringing the calls back to life. And so, yeah, now we got another challenge going to Denver, and it really comes back to us again, doing the things that we know we need to do and then performing at a high level.
Thanks.
Cam.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for making time for us. Hey, Coach, with all the stats that's going around, hurries, knockdowns, opponents' QBR, which stat is indicative of a Gus Bradley coach defense?
Well, I think that, a team that you look at that's going to play consistently at a high level. And, they're going to be a team that guys know what they're supposed to do. There's limited busts, limited breakdowns. They're going to execute at a high level. We believe in precision football. We feel like the NFL is a precision football game. And, that's been our philosophy. So we're going to be aggressive, especially on the perimeter with our corners. We're going to pick and choose our times, to give change up and throw change up pitches to the quarterback. And, based on the game plan, you see some games we didn't blitz that much. Lately, the last 2 games, we have put more pressure. We've called more pressures. Some of the pressures we like versus run situations, some we like versus pass. So, it comes back to, can you apply pressure with your 4-man rush? And if you can't, then you got to, look elsewhere. You got to add that 5th man to the pressure, 6th man to the pressure. So, we look at how effective are we. Sometimes you have really good blitzers and you want to utilize their skill set. Other times they're better coverage guys. So it's really based on the team and the personnel that we have on the field.
Thank you, Gus.
Fernando.
Hey, Gus, can you just talk about what it was like or what it meant for you to have for your defense to have Melvin Ingram and Justin Jones back last weekend?
Very important. I think it helped the whole D-line. It helped our defensive unit. And like I said, I think a couple weeks ago or maybe even 3 weeks ago, we talked about knowing the personnel that's on the field and how many plays they've gotten. And if we're not getting the rush that we need with the 4-man rush, then we got to add more guys to the rush to affect the quarterback. Affecting the quarterback is a big stat. I think when you look at the top 5 teams, sometimes the top 5 teams stopping the run aren't necessarily playoff teams, but generally the teams that affect the quarterback are in the top 5. They do make the playoffs, as a defensive stat. So that's extremely important. And, you get those guys back. It kind of felt more like it was earlier in the season when we could affect the quarterback with those guys. So, having Joey more at full strength, coming off the bye week, Melvin, Justin, it just made Chenna and Tillery that much better as well. And Linval Joseph's been pretty consistent for us too, up the middle and getting pushed. So we liked what we saw last week. We missed some opportunities, felt like we could have had even more pressure on the quarterback. So, anytime you have that, it makes in the back end, the quarterback's got to hitch or get rid of it a little bit quicker.
And then can you just talk about the Broncos run game? Obviously, you guys are familiar with Melvin Gordon, but then Phillip Lindsay is also last year he kind of made you guys work a little bit. Can you just talk about them as a duo? Obviously, Lindsay's questionable going in, but just those 2 backs.
Right. We spent a lot of time on them. I think they are a team that is committed to the run. They want to get the balls in the hands. We talk about styles of running backs each week, and it's 2 totally different styles. Melvin, we have an idea of, although I think he's really playing at a high level right now. He's running hard. Some of the things that's kind of unique to be able to go back and watch him now as a defensive coach. So he's playing at a high level. And then Lindsay, we've got great respect for him. He's a guy that can, turn a little gain into a big gain in a hurry. He's done that before to us. It completely changes the angles, especially out of the middle of the field if he does break through there. So we have to have a really good idea who's in the backfield, the style of runs they like when they're in the backfield, and how to approach them. But they're dynamic. They're a team that averages well over 100 yards of rushing a game. And as we saw last week, we got to do a better job of tackling in space, and that's one of our big keys to a victory is our ability to tackle better.
And Gus, last one for me. You guys had Jaleel in there on defense last Sunday. How did you feel like he performed? And is that something that you guys want to continue doing moving forward?
Yeah, we're looking at that. Jaleel was up last week because of special teams. I know that's a lot of things. Times we wait during the week to see, how that's going to go and what George needs. And Coach Lynn makes that decision. Then they present it to us. And if we can utilize the skill set, we'll do that. So as we go through the week, we'll see, who's available to us and try to incorporate them in the game plan. But he did a nice job. I think he's getting a feel for it. There is some recall, though. We're doing some different things. So, if he's up and active, then we'll try to have a spot for him.
Thanks, Gus.
Joe Reedy.
Gus, I know practice and games are two totally different things, but is there any advantage going up against a player that used to be on your team on the offensive side?
Well, the players feel like they have a good, they know who he is as a person. They know the type of a competitor he is. So that part, is good. But, now we're really studying him. We're really analyzing him and his running styles and his different things. As, when he gets in space, how does he try to make guys miss? So there's a different level of getting to know Melvin. I would say that definitely compared to maybe how we approached it, when he was on the team. So, he's been impressive now. He's running extremely hard. They're doing some things out of the backfield. They're getting him alive out there, with wheel routes and things like that. He caught a big touchdown pass on a wheel route. So, they're really trying to utilize his skill set, and I can see why they're probably pretty pleased with his performance thus far.
Okay. And then just the last 10 minutes of that first half against Jacksonville with the missed tackles and penalties, was that one of the more frustrating 10-minute stretches you've had as a D coordinator, especially with how well the first part went?
Yeah, because, what I think it was, I'm not sure, it's like 4 3-and-outs. And we just went out there and played. And then we felt like, all right, let's get more aggressive. And, that was a man coverage pressure on a third down situation. And they made a good play. But the disappointing thing was afterwards. There were so many missed tackles. It looked very sloppy. And I think the question was, what should it look like? That's not what it should look like. And that's what we point out to our players is consistently, if we're going to be believers in precision and doing fundamental things right, then it's got to look like that. And so, yeah, that play, it was disappointing that, we didn't, make the play. It can happen, but then the result afterwards.
And then just last thing from me, Casey's the screen pass to Robinson on the touchdown where it looked like he bowled over Casey or Casey didn't take a right angle. Is that just not having enough tape on a guy who was undrafted, or was it bad technique from Casey, or a combination of both?
No, we actually had a break in our coverage there. So, Casey was on the receiver, came up late because we had a bust in coverage. And yeah, you'd like to see him on a third down situation, make the tackle, knock him out of bounds, cause a fumble, something good for our end. But, it kind of caught him off guard a little bit because we weren't on our job. And, that was the result. So, as far as watching on tape, we studied him more probably than most backs just because we haven't seen a lot of tape on him. And, we knew that he was third in the AFC, I think last week we talked about and running and receiving. So we had great respect for him coming into the game. But, at times we did a good job. And that's, I think, with our defense now, we're not playing as consistently. We see flashes of how it should look like, but it's not consistent enough for us right now to be the level we want to play at.
Is that the most frustrating thing of all?
Yeah, because you think, and everybody knows, I think the whole defense knows what it should look like. We have a standard, and we have a standard for each player, and we have a standard for a unit. And when it's not done properly, it's not good. And, they understand that. But each one of those players that maybe didn't perform up their ability, they've done it before. And I think that's why our expectation is so high, is because we know they can do it. And they just need to do it more consistently, as well as coaching. I put that on us too. If we're not tackling very good, I got to do a good job and make sure in practice we get enough opportunities to tackle.
Okay. Thanks, Gus.
Last question, Michael Peterson.
Hey, Coach, you guys got Melvin Ingram back, and he led the team with 8 pressures against the Jaguars. But on the season, he has yet to find a sack, didn't actually have a tackle against the Jaguars. Is that something you guys would point at and say this is still how impactful an elite edge rusher can be despite not showing up in the box score?
Right. I think with him, he had a big play. He had a couple of hits on the quarterback. Like I said, the first third down hit the quarterback's arms. He's getting close. Melvin, what's great about him is he's so versatile. We can play him on the right, the left, over a guard. We can use him as a spinner. And it just creates different matchups, for everybody else as well. So it was cool to see him get back. I think he's going to be a work in progress, get back coming off the injury. And, we'll see where he's at this week. I know he was limited some this week, so we'll see where he's at.
And looking at the Broncos wide receiver group, they're missing Cortland Sutton. He's a guy that scored a couple touchdowns against you guys last season. But what do you still make of this young group? They've got the first-round rookie in Jerry Jeudy. They got an athletic guy in KJ Hamler. I think they got in the 3rd round from Penn State. Just kind of what do you see from that group?
It seems like our division is getting more and more built on speed. The team. So, and Denver's no different. I think that's what really jumps out at you is the speed that they can put on the field and the big play abilities. Not only with their receivers now, their tight end group is really good too. It's a really challenging group. So, you can see their speed. Like I said, they're good route runners. And I think one of the emphasis we made is yards after catch. Like what happened on that 3rd down. They're a good team. They're going to make some catches, but how do we attack them and how do we tackle after that? But these guys do a good job with that. I know Jeudy a couple times. I like, when he gets in space, they try to create a lot of space to get him one-on-one with some guys. So that's a real key to victory for us is tackling this week and tackling in space.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Gus.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.